So that is the beginning of, in order to make advancement, we have to truly realize the extent in which we are in ignorance and the extent to which we don't really know Krishna. We don't really know how much we're not these bodies. We don't really know. We just have some theoretical knowledge. So there's some psychologists, they found this thing of how people who know something, don't know something, they often have a lot of confidence. They have a little bit of knowledge, but they often have like a kind of illusory sense of self-confidence. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Anyone heard of this? The Dunning-Kruger effect. So it's, like I said, that people who are incompetent, often they are overconfident. And people who are expert, often they have less confidence because they actually know how difficult something is. Like they represent it on a graph, like on the Y you have your level of confidence, and on the X you have your competence. So when the competence is low, but there's some little bit of knowledge, then the graph goes up like this. The confidence is very high. But then over time, when one tries to actually master that thing, then the graph goes down. They call the top part, they call it the height of stupidity, or the hill of stupidity, I think, and the bottom is the the trough of depression or something like that. So, so sometimes that's just exposed to spiritual life. We think, this is not too difficult. We get that what's called utsaha mayi, the false enthusiasm. We have this realization, yes, I'm not this body, and we're getting some nectar, we're getting some mercy from Lord Chaitanya, and we have all these realizations. We think, this is not so difficult. I just tell myself I'm not the body 3 times a day, and I'm good, And people often have an unreal, their perception of their own abilities is often kind of skewed. We don't have a very realistic perception of our own abilities. Like when they asked, they did a survey of drivers in the States, and 8% or something reckoned that they are above average in their driving skills. So how can 88% be above average? It can't be. So people have an unrealistic view of themselves. And imagine if you were to go to the average person and ask, how good are you as a person? They say, I'm above average, good person, I can't be like below average. People, their level of goodness, especially in Western society where we don't have any kind of idea of what is spiritual life, that intoxication is bad, that meat eating is bad. They don't even have a clue that what is good or what is bad. They think, I'm a pretty good person. Although all day I'm pursuing my own selfish goals, and everyone around me is pursuing their own selfish goals, so they think, I'm pretty good. At least I pursue my selfish goals in a relatively ethical, good way. I'm a good person. Like when I came to Krishna consciousness, when I first started reading Bhagavad Gita, and I'm reading this Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita, I realized, hey, this Bhagavad Gita is saying that I'm a demon, that I live in a demoniac society. And all this time I thought I was a pretty good guy. And this book is telling me I'm a demon. I thought, this is pretty heavy. So, because we don't have any standard to judge ourselves. Often to judge yourself, the expert has a lot of knowledge, and he has the ability to judge himself, and therefore he can realistically judge himself. But the beginner, the very knowledge we need to judge ourselves, we don't have that knowledge. So we judge ourselves pretty highly, isn't it? But when we get the knowledge to actually judge ourselves, we think, I'm not so high. Like the neophyte, it's described that the neophyte devotee, he thinks, I am the only devotee, isn't it? Everyone else, they're all just hypocrites, they're just faking, pretending, I'm the only real devotee. But the Uttamadhikari, he thinks everyone is a devotee except for me, isn't it? He just sees the Krishna in everyone, he just sees the good in everyone, and he just thinks, and in himself he just sees all the bad. Thinks, he can't even, for him to preach, he can't even bring himself to preach because he thinks, how can I preach? I'm the lowest personality. And why? Because he has seen the truth. The Uttama Bhagavat. He is Tattvadashi, he has seen the truth. He has experienced pure goodness. He's seen Krishna, he's experienced true, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion and love and the supreme absolute truth. He's experienced it. And then when you've experienced that, and then how can your own consciousness compare to that? Your own consciousness seems so low, so like fallen. And this is the Uttama Bhagavat. They really have that experience of their position. So that's what we need to do. We need to realize what is our position, realize our ignorance and how much we can learn and how much we can grow. Like when Srila Prabhupada was, they were having an initiation ceremony, I think it was in Amsterdam, and the devotees didn't know how to do the initiation. And then he says, bring some fruit for the fire sacrifice. We need some fruits. And the devotees, they're not understanding, what does he need fruit for? So they go and they make fruit salad. And they're bringing Prabhupada fruit salad. He's like, what is this fruit salad? I didn't ask for fruit salad. He's getting angry. He's getting upset. And then one hippie says, Prabhupada, just chant Hare Krishna. Isn't it? So this is the neophyte. You're thinking, he can instruct spiritual master, Krishna consciousness is so easy. Just chant Hare Krishna and be happy, Why is he getting upset? And that is our perspective on spiritual life. I think it's just chant Hare Krishna, be happy, not the body. It's so easy. But then over time we see, the mind is, to control that mind is more difficult than to control the wind. It's difficult. It's not so easy. Yeah. So what is the solution? Well, they describe the solution is that you need to get feedback. When we're in our own little bubble of thinking that we're so wonderful and so expert in what we do and how good we are, but the feedback of other people is often not so good. Like when we rate ourselves, we often think, I'm above average, I'm pretty good. But when other people rate us, maybe they don't rate us as favorably as we rate ourselves. That's why you need coaching. Like if you want to be a Olympic athlete, are you going to become an Olympic athlete just swimming in the pool by yourself and, thinking, I'm a good swimmer? No, you need coach. You need someone to tell you, that's not good enough. You've got to go faster. You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. You need a coach. You need a guru. And you need practice. It says in Bhagavad Gita, practice and detachment. One can achieve success in yoga. So to practice means you have to go out of your comfort zone. Just like if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you can't just go and race according to what your muscles feel comfortable in doing. Isn't it how your muscles going to get stronger? If you just do what feels comfortable, the muscles not going to get stronger. You have to go out of your comfort zone. And that's how your muscles get stronger. That's called being anti-fragile. The human body is an anti-fragile system. When we go out of our comfort zone, then we get stronger. We get And that is how, if we want to advance in spiritual life, we need to go out of our comfort zone. We need to be willing to change. We need to accept, that we need to change, which for some people is not easy to accept. If we're living in our own bubble of sainthood, we have to accept, I need to change. And how do I need to change? Sometimes not so easy to hear. But we have to be willing to accept that feedback. Because the benefit of, say, if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you can fail many times. And I have failed, let me try again. But our ultimate test that we are preparing for, the test of death, by the time we know we failed, it's too late. We don't get many trial runs of death. Some people, they have their near-death experience. Maybe they might see the Yamadutas and they think, whoa, okay, I'm not doing so well. But not all of us get that mercy. We don't get it many times. Of course, we know we're in this material world, so we've definitely failed our last test. We know that for sure. There are so many tests. Yes? Life after life, we've been in this material world, countless, innumerable lives, and we're still here, so that means we failed quite a few times, isn't it? So we need to prepare for that test of death to make sure at least this time we do not fail. We do not have that benefit of being able to fail in this life and know, I failed, let me improve. No. But we have Guru, Sadhu and Shastra to prepare us for that ultimate test. So we have to take advantage. We have to take advantage of that and always remain in that humble state of mind where we're open to learning. Like my wife told me about this, the devotees, you all preach in Kharagpur there at IIT, and she told me there's this one IIT professor, and he's thought, this Krishna consciousness is very nice philosophy, and he is chanting and getting into, and then he's reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he gets to the 5th canto, and he's reading the 5th canto, the Vedic cosmology, and reading about the different oceans. You've got an ocean of milk, you've got an ocean of liquor, ocean of ghee, and he's thinking, I'm IIT professor, how can I accept this to be true? Ocean of yogurt, and this is mythology. This is mythology, isn't it? The 5th canto. And we think of the 5th canto, and it says, okay, first there's a salt ocean, okay, that sounds okay. And there's the Jambudweep, in this ocean. But now the problem is, on this Jambudweep, there's 9 varshas, and we are only in one of the varshas, Bharatvarsha. And there's these other varshas, and they are like heavenly abodes, and and there's beings there, not humans, Kim Purushas, and it's like flat. And we think from our mundane perspective, some devotees try to explain it, and then there's going out these consecutive rings, and they try to explain it, from a geocentric perspective. We can see the different planets to be like different rings, but there's a problem of those oceans between those planets. Like, we don't see these oceans there. We don't see any between Saturn and Jupiter. You're not seeing any ocean of milk there or anything, And so you're thinking this, and difficult to believe, isn't it? But we have to understand. How can we understand this? 5th canto is humbling us, isn't it? In our sophisticated technology society, we're thinking, we know everything. And here's this description of the universe, and it is just completely out there, like completely different, like nothing like what we can see. And what is this telling us? It's actually humbling us. Showing us actually we don't have a clue what is actually the reality. That this is telling us what is reality just from a completely different perspective. that is like not from a human perspective, like just completely different. Like we can't even understand it. It's just completely beyond, like some kind of, fifth dimensional perspective that's just beyond anything that we could ever understand or ever reach with our satellites and our lasers and our halidron particle collider and all that thing. You're just never going to understand this. It's just completely beyond us. It's completely humbling. And this is what we have to understand, that we just cannot, there's some things that we just can't know. There's some things that are just beyond what we can fully comprehend and fully understand. And that is really our intrinsic position in this world, that we are just in ignorance, isn't it? When you read this fifth canto, you realize, how can we really understand this? We can't. It's just beyond us. And I was on this astrology forum, and this Bengali, like Marxist guy, is like putting in there, they want us to teach in schools that the moon is further away than the sun. And he's quoting ISKCON ISKCON fifth canto there, the moon is further away from the sun. This is nonsense. Of course, we explain this is not from the perspective of the earth. This is perspective from the plane of Bharat, the plane of Bhumandala. It's not from the perspective of the earth. And of course, Surya Siddhanta is explaining something that is more accurate by modern kind of astronomy. And even there's this in the Rig Veda, it talks about how the earth is 108 suns away from the sun. 108, not like 105 or 106.5, 108. And that the moon is 108 moons from the earth. Isn't that? And if you look it up, it's actually true, even by modern astronomy. Of course, the average distance of the moon to the earth is not, it's more like 110, but the moon at its apogee, when it's closest to the earth, it's exactly 108 moons away from the earth. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. How can you argue that this happened by accident? It doesn't look very random. It doesn't look like you're going to see an explosion just putting, let's put the explosions that's going to happen, and there is 108 suns from there is the earth, and 108 from that. And even the earth itself, if you round its diameter a bit, its diameter is 108 sun. The diameter of the sun is 108 earths. All 108. And here we are chanting 108 Hare Krishna mantras. Yeah? So if anyone asks you, why do we chant 108? It's a good explanation. And where did they get this from? This is in the Rig Veda. In the Rig Veda, when people were supposedly living in caves and didn't know anything, in complete ignorance, just making up stories about gods so that they could justify, explain things. This is how the people explain it. But we could see that actually they knew. Yeah. So so we have to avoid that kind of Maya Prita Jnana consciousness in Krishna consciousness. Although it's talking about that the four different kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna, one of them is Maya Prita Jnana. But we can look at this even in ourselves, that we can also become Maya Prita Jnana. We can also become, what is a Maya Prita Jnana? Basically a know-it-all. Thinks, I know it so much, I know everything. But as soon as we become that Maya Prita Jnana, then we cannot further surrender to Krishna. Then we cannot learn anymore. There's nothing more to learn, nothing more that someone can teach us, as long as we are that Maya Prita Jnana. So always have to remind ourselves of our ignorance. Remind ourselves of how little we really know and understand in this world. Because that really is our constitutional position. That we're born in ignorance, and there's always so much more we can learn and grow in spiritual life, and we can remain humble like that. Then we can continue to advance and go home back to Krishna and pass that final test of death. Jai, thank you very much. Is there any comments or questions? Yes, bro?
Prabhuji, in today's sloka, it was mentioned that how the words of the Vedas can describe the absolute truth. But we know that the Vedas are the words of God. So, if God wants, then He can describe Himself like He is describing in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
So, Vedas can describe the absolute truth like in that sense.
Yeah, they can theoretically explain it. But to really know the absolute truth, that is something else. Of course, we'll see further in the chapter, then the personified Vedas do explain the absolute truth. So they do answer Parikshit Maharaj's question. But yeah, it's a gulf of difference between, really knowing it theoretically and actually experiencing the absolute truth, actually knowing the absolute truth. It's just a gulf of difference, which takes, a lifetime of effort. Okay. Thank you very much for hearing, devotees. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki